I didn't think we were discussing the UK's next general election. I thought we were discussing Brexit.
And we are not the EU's bargaining chip in this negotiation.
But they didn't know what they were voting on, and they were misled.
And as a grandma, even in his own constituency, says, a filthy piece of toe rag.
A point of order.
We are the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and that will never change. Brexit was not a rejection of Europe or our wonderful European friends. It was a rejection of the anti-democratic nature of EU institutions, and you confirm to us every day it was right to leave. Thank you.
Friends, assalamu alaikum. As we all already know, Boris Johnson is a liar, a charlatan, a racist, a national disgrace, an enemy of democracy, a selfish saboteur, a puppet to an unelected bureaucrat. And as a grandma, even in his own constituency, says, a filthy piece of toe rag.
Order!
Yes, the country voted, the UK voted to leave the EU, but they didn't know what they were voting on, and they were misled.
You patronising, snuck-up snob. How dare you? How dare you tell people they didn't know what they were voting for?
Farage,
they knew exactly what they were voting for.
A point of order.
Farage for 1 minute.
We are not dealing with people acting in good faith. Yes, that means you, Mr Barnier. You're not looking for solutions, you're looking to put obstacles in our way. You may have conned a very weak and gullible Mrs May into signing up into a new treaty from which there was no escape, but you're not conning us. We don't want your treaty in any form, even with Mr Johnson's proposed amendments. The referendum was very clear. We voted to leave the institutions of the European Union and to be free. And you know, we've had enough of being talked down to by you, insulted by Messrs Tusk and indeed Juncker, and we will never accept a German Chancellor attempting to annex a part of our nation. We simply won't have it. The good news is, your wretched treaty is off the table, support for a clean break Brexit is growing, and it will be the winning ticket at the next general election.
I didn't think we were discussing the UK's next general election. I thought we were discussing Brexit.
Order!
You have, of course, provoked some reaction from colleagues. Will you accept blue card question? Ms Bunting.
Am I on? Hi. Yes, the country voted, the UK voted to leave the EU, but they didn't know what they were voting on, and they were misled. They were.
Could you ask a question? I don't want a statement. I'm really sorry. I need a question.
Yes, I would like Nigel Farage to account for why he stood in front of that poster with refugees that had nothing to do with European Union. I would like to ask why they supported erroneous statistics and inaccurate facts. They know
your time
they
is
have
up, madam. It is 30 seconds.
Thanks.
I have two other colleagues who want to ask questions, and I'm going to allow it even though we are over. So, Mr Farage, will you answer that, please?
You patronising, snuck-up snob. How dare you? How dare you tell people they
Mr.
didn't
Farage,
know what they were voting
Mr.
for?
Farage,
They knew
please.
exactly what they were voting for. They were voting against 50 years of people like you lying to them. They did it, you promised, you'd enact it, and you, the Lib Dems and others, have betrayed the greatest democratic exercise in the history of our nation.
Let that settle for a moment. Just let that settle.
Order!
Can I just say I am taking a decision not to put two more questions to Mr Farage. I think it's the correct decision, and I now move on to our next speaker.
Order!
Labour standards. And I have to tell that to Richard Corbett, because he's a Labour representative. I can never understand that today there are 20 or so Labour MPs thinking to vote together with the government of the UK for such a deal. That should be the contrary of all the things that Labour has always defended in the past. And okay, I hope that it is not happening.
Madam President, may I first of all just say to our colleague Richard Corbett, the first duty of any good Democrat is to ensure that the likes of Mr. Jeremy Corbyn, an unreconstructed Marxist, should never become Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
I would therefore like to remind you of the age-old saying, if you love something, set it free, please. Thank you.
How very thoughtful.
Order!
When there is no clarity, and never was, about what type of leave was on the referendum, when we have a clarity about that, whichever type of leave is to be put to a second referendum, the people should have a choice. And in response to the revoke thing, that would be after a general election, and therefore after a clear vote to remain.
And there is a second question from Ms Fox, Claire Fox. Do you accept? Excuse me, I'm not asking you if you accept. I'm asking the lady who would answer the question. So now that the lady will accept, you do have the floor for 30 seconds. And as you know, I'm very strict on 30 seconds. Thank you.
Order!
If you are so confident in your politics, why don't you let us have a general election? Why do you, the Lib Dems, refuse and vote against ordinary voters in the country going to the polls? You've said you won't let them do it until you've taken something off the table that you decided on their behalf, anti-democratically. You are neither liberal nor democratic. And you say you're ashamed of the Parliament. I'm ashamed that you're a British MEP.
And that's
my final
not a question, but it's a
It was a
statement.
question.
Actually,
is she
no.
ashamed?
Well, I'll allow you answer that, because I dare say you'll have a good answer.
I'm very ashamed of some of the things that have been put out recently by Leave.eu.
And I have only a small impression. I have a small impression that in the meanwhile, the majority of the British citizens have changed their mind.
Sorry, colleagues. Please listen to the answer. And try not to holler. There's no need for it. We now give the floor to Madam Dodds for 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam President. On the 31st of October, the United Kingdom is scheduled to leave the European Union. We must leave as one nation. This means that Northern Ireland will leave the single market and the customs union with the rest of the United Kingdom. Prime Minister Johnston's blueprint means that the consent of the elected representatives of Northern Ireland is rightly required to opt into some of the rules, which would make trading with our neighbours in the Republic of Ireland easier for businesses and farmers. A sensible, pragmatic way forward, honouring the UK's referendum result. This has been met with complete negativity by EU leaders. It appears that no proposal other than tying Northern Ireland to the EU single market and customs union is acceptable to this House, the Irish Prime Minister, or even the German Chancellor. So let's be clear again. Northern Ireland is an integral part of the United Kingdom through the consent of the people of Northern Ireland. We will not be torn out of its internal market and customs union, and we are not the EU's bargaining chip in this negotiation.
For 1 minute, Mr. Ryan.